So this isn't just like a silo for just your stuff. Everyone who's in the atmosphere can post their own status emojis. All these little applications interoperate naturally because they all use the same protocol. That's kind of the selling point for like ATProto and stuff. And the problem is, like, I don't really want to run my own server that I keep open to the public internet. That's like hard. I don't trust my DevOps skills enough to be like fully confident that's a good idea. And that's where the serverless thing comes in.
Hello everyone and welcome to This Week in Net. It's the August the 1st, 2025 edition. If you're on vacation, enjoy it. We are too. This is our last episode before a short summer break. We'll be back in late August with something special we're preparing here at Cloudflare. Today I'm joined by Inanna Malick, systems engineer based in San Francisco. We'll talk about her recent blog post on how to build a simple version of Bluesky, a social network where users own their data using Cloudflare's free serverless tools without having to manage servers or something really complex like infrastructure. As usual, I'm João Tomé speaking to you from Cloudflare's Lisbon office library. Later in the episode, we'll go to Austin, Texas to hear from Keith Adler. He'll explain how you can explore your Cloudflare data with Python notebooks powered by Marimo. It's a tool we've partnered with to bring a powerful notebook experience to your data. In the news this week, the UK's Online Safety Act enforcement began on July the 25th, bringing age checks and new child protection rules. Actually, we'll have in a few weeks' time an episode about some of these topics related to privacy. OpenAI launched a study mode on ChatGPT, a new way to learn with step-by-step help. Let's see how that works out. And if you missed it, check our 100 episode from last week. It's in two parts. One is my conversation with John Cumming, Cloudflare board member and former CDO. And the other one is a collection of clips from amazing experts on security, AI, privacy, and internet history. So stay tuned for that. Now, here's my conversation with Inanna. And if you live in the Northern Hemisphere, have a good summer. Hello, Inanna. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Where does this podcast find you?
So I'm in San Francisco right now, or Oakland, but the SF Bay area. And it's a summer here, which means it is a whole variety of temperatures depending on the day.
It resonates a bit actually because here in Portugal, where I am at, it's only hot in this past few days. No low temperatures, even at night. And fires. So
we have that in common. Wildfires sometimes.
Yeah, California also has a lot of that as well. For those who don't know, can you explain to us what you do at Cloudflare?
Absolutely. So I'm a Rust engineer on the data loss protection team. And what we do is associated with the Warp tool, the VPN. So if you're, say, a customer and you have a bunch of people working at your company who have access to PII, right? Social security numbers, FDA, like drug test results, like whatever, right? Stuff that you quite reasonably don't want to end up on, say, Pastefin or their personal email account, or even accidentally in the wrong window, whatever, right? So we do a lot of streaming parser work and detection. So a lot of the time it'll be like, I don't know, OCR, right? Is this a screenshot of a document with social security numbers?
What is OCR?
Oh, God, of course, acronyms, right? Optical character recognition. So this is just like, if you have an image, this is like old technology too. It's been iterated on every version of AI and machine learning since like probably the 80s. So it just pulls out the text from a document that you have a screenshot, an image, even like a scan of.
Interesting. And you wrote this blog post. That's the reason we're having this conversation, called Serverless Statusphere, walk through building serverless ATProto applications on Cloudflare's developer platform. For those who don't know, really, let's break it a bit on what is this blog post about? What is ATProto applications really?
So that is a whole ton of acronyms and like industry specific terms. So let me just break it down from the beginning. So have you used Bluesky? It's sort of a alternative to like microblogging platforms like other ones, right? And really
like the Twitter or X, yeah, it's the Twitter rival.
But so the core sort of like point of ATProto is that it's not centralized, right? So you could make your own Bluesky. You could make and host your own Bluesky, and you could port your accounts over to it. You can make your own things on top of the same protocol using, say, your Bluesky login as your authentication method. And the event stream, every post, every update, every time you like a post, whatever, is public. So you could subscribe to that. I have friends who are working in that space, people who have like made some cool stuff. And there's like really a lot going on there. There's like some like funds, conferences, etc. And fingers crossed, I think we might be seeing like just the beginning of a larger wave of like open social applications. So that is what ATProto is. It is the underlying protocol that this all runs on. And this isn't really going to be a talk about that because that is itself like a large conversation. It's complex, but this is just going to be a talk about how if you're building an app in that ecosystem, you might choose to do so on Cloudflare. And this started as a personal project. It kind of still is, but I was just really curious if it was possible because, okay, so what is like an ATProto app? So you've got your view of this open source ecosystem that's called your app view, and you've got like a listener for the event stream, and that listener is how you like stay up to date with what's happening in the whole atmosphere is what they call it, the ATProto, the atmosphere, right? The set of all the ATProto things. There's like microblogging platforms, there's different stuff. It's not just Bluesky. So the problem with that is like fundamentally that you need to be usually running like a live streaming listener, right? And that's kind of hard in a serverless environment. So I kind of set myself the challenge of like, hey, could I figure out how to do this on like Cloudflare Workers? And managed to get something working. Started talking to some of my friends about that, and they were like, hey, we should do a blog post. And now we're here.
Makes perfect sense, actually. Isn't it, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't it Threads also trying to follow that path of having it open, that people can create their own apps connected to Threads in some way? It's a bit different, right?
Threads, is that the Instagram thing?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So here's the difference, right? And I don't know anything about Threads, so this is just going to be me like hypothesizing. At the end of the day, Threads is in some sense, is a closed platform, right? Like a lot of applications like Google, GitHub, whatever, they're OAuth providers, open authentication. Again, whole conversation, not diving into the technical details there. But if you've ever seen like a login with Google button, login with GitHub, I assume Threads is like a login with Threads. But I don't think if Meta was allowing people to fully port their Threads account, all their content, their identity to a non-Meta platform, like seamlessly, I'm very surprised I haven't heard of it. I don't think that's the case.
I think in their case is more of open it in a way like you can be on Mastodon, for example, and see what's happening. Connect your account from Threads to Mastodon. It's like the integration with ActivityPub. I think that's it. I think in their case is not like as open as Bluesky. Bluesky is definitely from the get-go really more open in this situation. I'm curious on the output that you were able to do. Were you surprised on how easy it is to build your own app there specifically? What is the output?
Yeah. Okay, so the output, right? Statusphere. This is like sort of the hello world of ATProto and the atmosphere. The simplest possible social app. You post an emoji. One emoji, this is your status. Hey, I'm feeling happy emoji. I'm feeling rocket ship. I'm feeling, whatever, right? But just because it's that simple, it lets you really look at how the different parts fit together. And like any Hello World program, it provides like a sort of entry point to building your own larger program. And so there's like lovely, like well-documented Statusphere implementations in TypeScript and Rust right now. And those show how to run it on a machine you control, like a server in the cloud, your home desktop, whatever. And then you can post little emojis. You can log in with your Bluesky account, and those emojis all go to the global activity feed, right? So this isn't just like a silo for just your stuff. Everyone who's in the atmosphere can post their own status emojis. All these little applications interoperate naturally because they all use the same protocol. That's kind of the selling point for like ATProto and stuff. And the problem is like I don't really want to run my own server that I keep open to the public internet. That's like hard. I don't trust my DevOps skills enough to be like fully confident that's a good idea. And that's where the serverless thing comes in.
It's quite interesting to see that it works. You can actually have something connected to a social media app. So it's like opening what you did in a personal site in a way, right?
Yeah, and like yeah, that's the cool thing, right? Like the second you build something on ATProto, like, you're working in an open protocol, right? So anyone could start up their own version. Like I think there's actually competing Bluesky clients. So like if you wanted to interact with like the world of microblogging, I guess, like you can do so even if for some reason, like, I don't know, you distrust Bluesky, you don't like want to use it, you just want to run it yourself, right? There's like alternate, I'm pretty sure there's alternate front ends, and I'm kind of riffing here because I haven't like I don't have a list of them in front of me, but I know there's multiple projects working on that.
Makes sense. This is the example of the application, right, that you created.
It is, yes. And this is like more of an application that I ported over from existing stuff into a Cloudflare context and not something I made fully myself. But yeah, you can see like I'm feeling pirate flag today. I'm feeling blue heart emoji. It's sort of the simplest possible social app that fully integrates through the ecosystem.
Makes sense. The blog post really goes into detail on how to build. Others can definitely follow through the things that you did there, and they can create their own, right? And it has.
I want to highlight the deploy to Cloudflare button too. It's like really neat technology. Like you can just like there's a lot of sort of boilerplate tasks of setting up your own like KV and D1 namespaces that it just automates for you.
It makes perfect sense having like a button where you can actually go to your dash and have the characteristics, the things that you need already in place. It's quite interesting to see these appear in our blogs.
And actually, if you look at item 3, you can sort of see like a little bit of like proof, technical proof of how open Cloudflare, how open ATProto is, like the protocol. So specifically the DID records stored on my personal domain, inanna.recursion.wtf. They will just let you buy anything for a domain now at Recursion. I thought it was a funny TLD. So if you can, I think, click on that link, the ATProto, and you can see just like a public, you can see at the bottom there, right? This is my identity, right? My identity belongs to my own domain. So like people can like this eventually. There's like a whole chain of technical implementations where the DID equals DID PLC, etc. there like actually maps to a personal data server, maps to sort of a repo that like owns the data, et cetera, et cetera. But I like my identity isn't owned by Bluesky in the same way that your identity is owned by like the underlying provider in a lot of social apps. And we can close that now because there's like 20 different ads on that page.
True. Yeah, it's quite interesting to see what you can do there and own your own stuff, right?
Yeah, that's really the core value proposition. You own it and it's cryptographically verified, right? Like you have your own signing keys in your personal data repo or PDS, like which is your repo. And everything you post is like cryptographically verifiable as coming from you. And then if you trace it all the way back, it's sort of cryptographically verifiable as coming from the account that's pointed to by your own domain. So it leverages DNS, which sort of is everywhere at domain names. I should really know what this stands for, but it's the domain name thing that maps the domain name to the specific IP address and is already a global system of mapping names to records.
Makes sense. And in a way, you can use it if other social media apps do the same. You can take your content there. Not only your content, your characteristics, your own person, right there. So it's transportable.
Exactly. Yeah, that's sort of the ATProto vision of the future. And as someone who's had accounts on multiple websites that have since like sunsetted or meaningfully changed in some way, I really like the idea of having some sort of core identity that's like owned more by me and less by the social media provider.
You already have a section here about looking ahead. What is the sum up of the looking ahead perspective in this area?
Yeah, so sort of at the core of this is like I'm a little bit hesitant to call it like fully a hack, right? It is like actually listening to the activity stream, but it's doing so by waking up every minute, polling, etc. And the core technology that a lot of this runs on, WebSockets, Durable Objects does some really cool stuff with WebSockets. So you can just have a serverless thingy, a durable object running in the cloud that can own long-lived WebSockets. So if you have like a client on your browser that is receiving live updates, like from a chat, like a chat window, or in this case, I use it to push live updates as things show up in the activity stream or the event stream. Like you can actually have a serverless WebSocket that just lasts for as long as you want. Like you don't need to maintain an active server for that. Now the thing is that WebSocket, what that is durable objects acting as a WebSocket server, right? And something that could happen in the future is maybe they support WebSocket clients as well, like the ability to maintain and hibernate a WebSocket client. And this is just hypothetically, like I'm not on that team, but WebSockets are symmetrical, so there is like a good chance that that's totally doable. And the idea then would be that we could entirely remove the need to wake up every minute and poll, or every few minutes, every whatever, and just fully be integrated with the activity stream live, and just have that like you could build a full ATProto app in Cloudflare, and like a more serious, more production ready one, and not have to even run the current solution I had was you just run your own like listener on your own machine, but like firewall from the public internet, right? It wouldn't need to have any exposed ports that people could access, and you just have that push the updates into Cloudflare. But with this hypothetical change, you could just do it fully on Cloudflare. And sort of the pitch, and this is because I like ATProto, but I mean, I also work at Cloudflare, right? Is that you build your you build your beta on Cloudflare, right? You can do it on the free plan. You don't have to pay anything, but maybe you like it. Maybe it's a good service. And then maybe if you hit like the product market fit where you're like, you get funding, you're like rolling it out to like 1,000, 10,000, whatever users, why not stay on Cloudflare? And I genuinely think it would be a good fit for that. Like, I'm not just saying that.
Interesting. Actually, it's part of the Cloudflare history of engineers and people that have like cool ideas, even personal ideas. Hey, I want to try this. It's really interesting. Let me try. And they try, and then sometimes it's a blog post, as in this case, like an example. Sometimes it becomes a product, actually. So there's many examples of geeky things just coming true ideas. Really.
Yeah, and just like, if you're interested in building something yourself with this, you could, instead of running a full app, like you could listen to, say, I don't know, every message on the activity stream that has an image, right? And a lot of people use alt text for images to make them readable to viewers who are using screen readers, like people who are blind, right? And you could use like Cloudflare AI to generate alt text for images that don't have it. And because you can create your own like message types on the protocol, you could publish like under your own like lexicon, like under your own message type, you could publish like the AI annotated alt text. And like maybe it's not always right. Like a lot of AI stuff is like mostly right, but like a mostly right description is better than just completely being unusable for someone with a screen reader.
Absolutely. I'm curious also on, while doing this, what would be your wishes in terms of other social media platforms adopting this, even Blue Sky adopting this, in terms of more people doing these specific examples? Because, for example, even Europe, I remember hearing Europe wanting to have this, hey, you can transport your own identity from one social media to the next, but that is not always clear cut on how is it being done? Not really. Many social media apps don't want to do that specifically. How do you see that perspective going?
I think like sort of the core reason for Blue Sky's existence is exactly that. Like the core reason for ATProto, for everything, is exactly that ability to run to run like social media stuff where that is a possibility. I think like a lot of the time it's like hobby projects or like small like community funded projects that are like people prototyping how that would be done. But I think the possibility is really there, and really like this is something I've done building on top of the work, like the really great work that team's done. Like Statusphere is their hello world, right? They published that. I was just like, hey, I can port this to Cloudflare. And I think like, I don't know, I mean, there's a really engaged community there. Like the same friend that I have who like suggested that I do like a blog post about this has like been like doing like Cloudflare apps. I don't remember the URL. I should really be able to give a shout out for this.
But before you go, why not give us a geek suggestion? Something, maybe a book, something you saw, something you learned.
Yeah, the Superman movie is really good. I know some people who are actually involved with the physical prop design, and I love to see physical prop design in the movie. Like they had a lot of that, and it really shows. Strongly recommend that. Yeah, it's a good movie.
It's on my list. Heard great things about it actually. Not like the typical superhero movie specifically, right?
Yeah, they didn't do the whole like hyper muscular sort of dehydrated look. And you didn't even notice that during the movie, but like someone pointed it out later, and it was like, yeah, it's nice that they're not making the actors do that.
Interesting. Good one there. Thank you for doing the blog and for the suggestion and to be here.
Absolutely, and thank you as well.
And that's a wrap.
Hi, I'm Keith Adler. I'm a software engineer at Cloudflare, and I've worked on a few different teams here. Really worked with data science projects and the software engineering around that. Kind of filling a machine learning engineer role for those different products, and then building them out into something that customers could use. So this recent effort of notebooks was to essentially say, you want to look at your data, you want to explore your data, you want to use Cloudflare more effectively, and being able to use that in a notebook is a really easy way to kind of step in and immediately start displaying and doing analysis of your data. And so from there, we added the ability to have an OAuth login so that you can actually log in as you to your notebook, and then you have a token available to you with certain permissions so that you can access and run different examples that we built out. And it's available on the blog, on our GitHub repo, and we're looking to do more. Also, notebooks.cloudflare.com. There's a lot of different ways you can access this, but the idea is that now you can actually load your data in your zones, your websites, and you could see the traffic. You could see analysis of different services you've used. We're looking to expand that, so we're open to contributions on GitHub, so others can add new example types, or they can add questions or try to expand on what we can do with it. So looking forward to what the community and us can build together. Working with Marimo on this, it's an open source project that we've been partnered with. They have a fantastic ecosystem I would encourage you to check out, but it's a more modern approach to notebooks, and they have a lot of different integrations that I think will make it a lot easier to work with different data sources and Cloudflare services. In particular, their team has been great, and so one thing we've found working with them is that these different examples of how to build out Cloudflare APIs all have great visualizations, so you can see like your DNS logs, and you can group them by where did this traffic come from in the world, and analysis on Workers AI, or different examples of how to work with R2 or D1 or other services. So it's been really cool to build that together and have kind of this finished product that is ready and available for everyone at on the blog, on .com, and on GitHub. Yeah, so really, for me, a lot of times when I start data projects, I always want to pull things into a data frame and start looking at it in a notebook. We have some great examples with looking at your zone logs. You can look at, hey, for my website, how do I look out and see all the different insights of where did this traffic come from? What countries did people access my site from? How were they accessing it? Were there anything that was blocked? All healthy traffic, or were there a bunch of errors that were occurring? And I can dig through all of that. And whether you're a developer or a site owner, I think there's a lot of interesting things just for that. But there are a lot of other services. We have a whole section on the compute, which could be workers-based metrics if you're using a lot of different worker services, or Workers AI. We have a few different examples that I think are pretty cool. If you are on more of the storage and data side, I mean, D1 and R2, KV, all these different data sources we have access to and examples there. I think there's a lot of opportunity to expand on these examples. I mean, we already talked about adding like an MCP server example, so that things that even Cloudflare's even blogged about, we can build examples of, here's how you could do it. But now we can say, now you can do it with your actual login. You can do it as you, rather than some generic example that we built out for a blog post or documentation. You can actually run the code yourself. So I think that's a really big difference between looking at a documents page and being able to run the documents page. We had a few different announcements on the blog post. One of them is the actual notebook site and the GitHub repo with examples. Looking to expand it and add more contributions to those to add for new products and new ideas. We have a lot of existing products that don't have examples, so we'd love to see more added there and more that we can add to as well over time. But I think the next step for a lot of this is going to be looking at the container side. We have one example in the blog post of running different examples like Marimo in a container on Cloudflare's new compute engine for containers. And that is a very interesting ecosystem, and I would encourage you to check it out. Right now, there's examples of it, but we'd like to actually formalize that more to build out an ecosystem that you can run more managed notebooks on Cloudflare. So that could be pretty cool and open up a lot more use cases on the technical side to allow for much higher amounts of compute and different resources. And there's a lot of things like GPU access that are a little bit more challenging today, but we're looking to make that easier in the future. I think there's a lot of really interesting ways to reach out and work with us. One, I mentioned the GitHub community. On that community, we have GitHub issues, and I added a contributor document. So if you want to add new examples of notebooks, you want to add more products, and you want to expand on the existing work that's there, just add a PR. You can fork the repo and build things and merge it in with us. I'm looking forward to what people build. I would also say we have a Discord server, the Cloudflare Developer Discord server. That's a really easy place to reach out to us and talk about any product. There's also Marimo has a Discord server. I would encourage you to reach out to them and as well. There are a lot of features on Marimo that are pretty cool, and working with them has been fantastic. Stay tuned to see what we build with Cloudflare Notebooks and with Marimo to see kind of the next chapter of what these products and data can really enable as far as notebooks and the user experience with your data.